o'clock, and I'm going to call the Blair Township Board of Trustees regular meeting of October 11th, 2022 to order at 6 p.m. Stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Time.
Here.
Right.
Here.
Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Campbell.
Here.
Wolfgang.
Here.
Lees.
Yes.
Woodruff.
Yes, here.
Brief public input.
Should I come up here?
Sure.
I'm Bill Clark. I'm the new outreach coordinator for Beta. I've been here about a month now, and I just want to come by and introduce myself to y'all. And we do have a regular bus service out to y'all on Route 12, which I took up here tonight actually. And we also have some other, we have more of a on-demand type style, which you can make a reservation for and have the buses take you to your destination from there too. So if you ever have any questions, I'm free to answer y'all's questions or questions for anybody who's out here too. So I'm also here to ask that we do have a millage coming up for the November month. So that millage is a renewal from what we did in 2017. So it's actually a renewal at a smaller millage than before. So it's to keep our services going as they are now and back to where they were prior to COVID. We're kind of building our system mostly with staff versus anything else. So the millage is not an increase, it's the same millage we've had before, and just we have some brochures to leave with the community. And any questions, please ask us about those. So the millage pays for 40% of Beta's operating budget. Without that, we won't be able to get the state and federal funding that makes up the bulk of the rest. We have 3% comes from the fares, almost 60% comes from federal and state, and 40% is from these villages and from advertising for buses. So it's very important that we have that knowledge to keep our existing bus service going. And I'm here to tell you that Route 12 is a very popular route. I ride it often. My child rides it, and interlocal students ride it, and I came in tonight. So, and I got to talk to a lot of neat people on it. Some people going to a dialysis appointment in Traverse City as I was on it. One person was talking about her mom takes it to chemotherapy. And many people transfer to the Benzie bus service from our bus service there. So, students, include I saw a student from the high school who was transferring my way, and many people going out that way as well. So.
Bill, do you keep statistics as to how many people ride the bus? Like on Route 12 on a daily basis? So like if I
absolutely
met with you, you could tell
you
me
can
last
email me,
Friday.
I can go look it up on the system. Don't know offhand what 12 is. I know I saw a chart about what some weekend runnership was for we got the it's like a weekend express route for the students in Interlochen that kind of goes to this area and goes into town. So I was looking to see how that was doing. I know that there's 1,000 riders a day on average for the entirety of Beta. So it's roughly, give or take, 300,000 a year. Prior to COVID, we had it was more than Cherry Capital Airport put in for the year. So it was, and then after COVID, it dropped back down. Not because of demand for services, our demand stayed the same for a bus service, but our ridership did go down because we weren't able to put the same amount of buses on the roads as before, just because of our staff. I know we hired almost 20 drivers this year, and we needed about 8 more to get back to normal. But just like everybody else, staffing is an issue kind of around everything. But we're getting there.
Any questions for Bill?
I have one. Have you seen an increase at all since the gasoline prices have gone up tremendously?
I'm not sure if we can correlate it to the gasoline prices, but our increase in demand and ridership has been going up steadily since the end of the pandemic. And that's basically when the gas has also been going up as well. So it's tough to say whether or not what the reason was for that. So I know we have more people on the buses now than did prior to the pandemic per bus. That's more or less because we have less buses on the road now. But the demand is just as high as it was before, if not rising again.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, when we offer free rides to the Cherry Festival people, are they free rides or do the tourists have to pay something?
Yeah, so this past year, maybe the past 2 years, the Cherry Festival shuttles were exclusively done on what's called the Beta. It's the Bay line that we have. We don't have the Cherry Festival shuttles that we did prior to the pandemic, where we had them situated throughout this is actually pre-me on Beta, but working for Beta, but I used to take it back then. But right now, in the past couple of years, it's just been on the Bay line. The Bay line is funded. It was actually by sponsors, and then we had enough from the federal and state money that actually funds the Bay line now. So that is for, it's for the Cherry Festival. It's for, we have a Luau Festival that does, we used to go to the fairgrounds out here as well for different trips. We haven't done that part. So to answer your question, we don't have those specific shuttles for the Cherry Festival right now. It's all done on, if you're familiar with the Free Bay line, it's a service that goes from East Bay near Acme to Meyer in the west side of Traverse City. And that is one that was initially funded by the different interests like the DDA in Traverse City and other groups, and now it's funded by dollars from the state Fed.
Okay.
So thanks. You can find me at beta.net and just click on the info. And if you have any questions, please send them my way. I'm glad to help anybody out. So.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public input? Approval of the agenda. I have some changes, some additions. I apologize. Under new business, a new number 1. I would like to add to the agenda authorization from the board to submit to Grand Traverse County for ARPA funding, their grant application, which is due October 31st. Ken is here tonight, so we'll talk briefly about it. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at that application. It's a 15-page application process. It's going to take some creative writing and some creative engineering wording. So I think together, Ken and the Wade Trim and myself will get it done and get it submitted. So that would be item number 1. Item number 2 would be the authorization from the board to submit to EGO the intent to apply for the state ARPA grant funding, which the intent is due November 1st. The intent application is much smaller than the actual grant application. And again, this is gonna take assistance from Wade Trim with our engineers and their grant writer, perhaps some input from their planner to help me with some of the language. So that'd be item 1 and 2, and then the new emergency services bulletin 1R would become 3, then 4, 5, and then an addition would be item 6, and that would be to award contracts for the emergency services building.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with changes.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda with the changes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6, declaration of conflict of interest. Anybody have a conflict with anything tonight? Presentation special reports. Grand Traverse County Commissioners report. Hi, Ron.
Hello. was gonna remind you that, the end of the month is the deadline to get your ARPA requests in, so you're on top of that. In September 21st meeting, the county entered into a memorandum of understanding so we may recreate the enabling agreement establishing the Northern Heights Community Mental Health. So it's, it'll be better than what we had, and we'll see where it ends up. We're not under any deadline because we've not removed ourselves from Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. So then the other thing I wanted to bring up is we had a presentation from Beta at our most recent meeting, and on the ballot, it's a 5-year millage. So if they're looking for renewal, it's gonna be coming at a off year, and it's gonna cost $20,000 to run an election for Beta. At their board, that was brought up to the board by Brad, and they decided to go with the 5-year, I guess, and see where it goes in the 5th year. So that's one point.
Did they say the reasoning behind that?
Something to do with their funding, and it's the max that they can ask for. So that's why they did it, rather than going for 4 and saving $200,000. The gentleman that was up here during public comment said that the millage provides 40%. Their information that they provided us on Wednesday, 34% is what the millage provides. Their budget is 11.7 million. If you take 34% of their budget, they would need 3.98 million from the millage. Instead, the millage is going to produce almost 4.8 million. So they're asking for 800,000 more than what they need for the budget that they.
That's that 5th year, Ron. Right?
It's to pay for the
It's
election.
There you go.
Here.
If you take 4 years, 800,000 each year,
Yeah.
yeah, it should do that. So, that's one issue, one point that I have. I asked them, I put questions out to Beta before the meeting so they could answer them, and not just be shoot from the hip. And one was the budget, which I shared with you is 11.7 million. They're running at 75% of what they should be running at. We did hear from Kelly that, and I'm gonna screw it up only because it just doesn't sound right to me, but it's what she said, is that the state requires to have 20% reserve buses on standby. They currently have 86 buses in their fleet. They have 78 buses that are active. that they can operate at any given time. 8 vehicles are in the process of replacement. And I think 6 of them are electric that they have coming that they accept. That is, they're running 48 buses a day of the, and if you take the 48 buses of the 78 buses that are active, that's 66%. And so they're, but when I brought that to Kelly, she said, well, that's because they gotta have 20% just on the desk, on the shelf anyway. So with the 48 buses, they're running 1,015 passenger seats in those buses. They're getting 1,000 passengers a day. So they're not even filling every seat in a bus one time. And
They need minivans.
Mm-hmm.
They need
Oh,
minivans.
certainly,
The smaller vehicles.
certainly. But, and I didn't get into how do they count their riders, you know, because,
It's rides. I get on the bus, get to the transfer station, got another bus, that's 2 rides, one person.
correct, that's what it is, but,
That's why it says rides in all their handouts. Doesn't say riders, doesn't say people. It's
and,
20 rides per bus per day.
and 19% is federally funded, 38% is funded by the state, and 43% is local, but it's millage, ads, and fares is 43%. But at the bottom of their sheet, they say 34% of the total funding comes from the millage. So that's where I got that. Any questions?
$20 per ride. No, $37 per ride.
So far, they've received, because I asked the question. To date, they've received $635,000 in fares.
From January 1st?
I was wrong, it's $32 per
$11.7
ride.
million budget.
So, any questions? Not, I'm gonna leave and go on with my evening.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Have a good meeting.
Deputy Karczewski couldn't be here tonight. He left his report for everybody on the table. Commissioner, Treasurer's report.
We have the general fund at $5,278,070. Public safety fund at $820,924. Ambulance fund is $904,116. Metro Act fund is $29,741. Liquor law enforcement fund is $40,881. Milfoil fund is $7,871. Emergency services building is $6,261,121. Sewer fund is $2,052,099. Water fund is $3,279,163. Current tax collection is $150,538. Payroll is a credit of 1.59 for a total of $18,824,520. $122.25.
Thanks.
Any questions for Tracy? Announcements and correspondence. Water loss committee update.
Well, we are meeting Thursday, so we don't have a lot, but, well, the report from Patrick showing this month's loss for September was 10.6%. How many years has it been since we've had that? So we're making gains now. That, we need to see several months like that.
So you think that 40% of water loss came just from the commercial meters?
It'd only be 30%.
But it's
So
still a big
the 10%
chunk
still there.
for what
Almost
we've
11.
spent on them.
What was that?
You what?
You go ahead. Oh,
So at our meeting Thursday, we'll update everybody and go from there.
And Jordan's been putting in the meters that expire at the end of this year, that sunset at the end of this year. And that, so we're going good on that. He's in class tomorrow, so he won't be doing it tomorrow, but perhaps get him some for Thursday and Friday.
Anything else? Thanks to everyone that participated in Fall Township Cleanup Day. Another success. I know the bill came in today. I didn't get a chance to go up and look at it, so I don't have the total amount of garbage collected. But I do know it was a lot less than what spring was, which it always is, but it was steady. It was a steady day. We didn't have the backups down to Blair Town Hall Road, which was good. Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Department Deputy Karczewski is going to be putting on a fraud awareness class here on October 17th. It's a Monday.
Do we know what time?
I saw the flyer. Did you?
Did you?
6?
Yep.
I just saw
It's
the
six.
Evidently, there's been quite a few elderly people in the Grand Traverse area being scammed by scammers. They did a run test with this class, and it was, the feedback was very, very positive. The people that attended really liked it, to the point where Lieutenant Brinks thought that it would be beneficial to host them in other communities around the county, so.
I know my wife and I'll be here. Especially because they
I probably should too.
do a lot of procedures too, they'll scam, try and get,
Yeah.
especially if they know you're on Medicare.
Prescription drug drop-off here, October 29th, 10 to 2. We are planning a small groundbreaking ceremony for the new Emergency Services Department. We haven't picked an official date yet. We'll wait until Ummers gets in there and actually starts doing some dirt work and what works with Chris. So I'll probably just correspond to everybody via email about that. The county ARPA grant application is due the 31st, and the state of Michigan ARPA grant intent application due November 1st. Ken, I did have it on the agenda.
Yeah.
I just didn't have it an agenda item, and Ken's like, oh, you probably need some board approval for that. Consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will automatically be respected.
I don't have anything to remove, but I have something to add. On the check registers, I did 3 checks today out of the emergency services building account. These bills needed to get paid. So I ran those checks. So in the minutes, I would like it to reflect that the emergency services building checks, the addition of check 109 through 111 in the total amount of $40,834.40. In addition to what is already listed.
I would make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the addition of the 3 checks written for,
Support.
we get it out, the emergency
Services building.
in the amount of $40,834.40.
Bless you. It's been moved and supported to add the emergency services checks 109 through 111 to the total of $40,834.40 to the check register. Further discussion? Roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Lees,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Fleischman.
Yes. Item 10, unfinished old business. Discussion on HydroCorp final payment.
We're still in the talks with HydroCorp. Dave Cardinal emailed and wanted a little bit more information. Yeah, and so I sent him back more information that he was looking for, and I'm just waiting for him to respond again.
Still in the works.
Still in the works.
Item 11, new business. Number 1, authorization to submit ARPA grant funding application to Grand Traverse County.
All right, so with the Grand Traverse County funding, I think it's 18 million is what their allocation was.
Yep.
So we're going through the funding process. We've already done the preliminary application. They've already had a couple rounds where you could submit projects. And our 2 projects, one of course is the water supply project. And the other one was a sewer lift station, the main lift station needs an upgrade as well. I don't know if you guys we've talked about that before, but the lift station when it was built, it was built and permitted for a 700 gallon per minute flow rate, a pumping rate of 700 gallons per minute. When it was actually constructed, it was 430 gallons per minute. So it is built half size, which made sense at the time because the flow was just developing. We're at the point now where we're reaching the maximum and it's time to upgrade it to its full permitted capacity. So that was the other project we had put in initially for the ARPA funds. So, I recommend submitting for both of those projects again, with the full application. And it's a serious application. There is a lot of information that we'll need assistance from the township on. But certainly all the technical information, we'll provide all that. So that's due the end of the month. So the water supply we're looking at was $4.5 million for wells and treatment. And then the sanitary lift station improvement would be new pumps and actually an additional wet well. Not replacing what's there, but adding another one to it. And what that would do is provide additional liquid storage. So if anything breaks, anything happens with the pumps, the guys have more time before that fills up and overflows. So it gives them more reaction time. One of the downsides of the suction pump that was put in there is that it's kind of small wet wells, and it comes up very quickly when the equipment's not working. So that's our initial thought. There hasn't been any design done. Just talk with some equipment and just a preliminary look at the project.
And the sewer upgrade is like $250,000
Yes.
upgrade.
Yep, that's the number we came up with, the preliminary estimate.
That's what you'd be asking the counties for $250,000.
Well, we're gonna ask them for both,
How much is the other one?
4.2 million. 4.5.
4.5.
Oh, it's up now.
It's not much.
I see is from the application, Ken and I have talked about this. We've been contacted by a developer, I forwarded it all to you guys, for workforce housing apartment complex.
Mhm.
And I know that's one of the priorities in Grand Traverse County and with the Board of Commissioners, with the ARPA dollars, is the biggest benefit to the most. They listed the top 5 priorities that were submitted to their committee. And workforce housing was number 2. Infrastructure was number 1, workforce housing was number 2. So we're thinking with this grant application, with this one as well as with the state of Michigan, we could actually look into partnering with the developer, with MISHDA, with the state for the workforce housing apartment complex, which would score us a lot more grant dollar points. It's all in the point, it's all based on points. Each question has a 5-point value, and if you can show the benefit, which workforce housing, the huge benefit, we still have restaurants closed for lunches, they don't have staffing, because people can't afford to rent a place out here. And our businesses can't afford to pay $40 an hour in wages for people to pay the $1,800 a month for rent. So workforce housing is definitely, it's high on my priority list to help with the solution to the crisis that the county's in. So we got a lot of work in a really short period of time.
We can certainly pull it together.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
confident of that.
Me too.
Now, if there's anything I can do, I'm not, I've never applied for grant or anything. I never have, even for that. If there's anything I can do on any of this, the water, the sewer, the workforce housing, please call me. Because now, with my wife being retired, I gotta get the heck out of the house. Okay?
I would find it very helpful to start thinking about things like this rather than, I just feel like I'm stretched everywhere, so you watch enough webinars, you're aware of these dates, you're
Yeah.
aware, so take the lead on it. You be the one to come to the board and say, hey, I'm gonna meet with our engineers and
Sounds good.
as far as this, it's gonna be technical from these guys and just creative writing from our master plan and my brain when I have a day that it's fully functioning.
And a lot of that just comes with knowing the community. You guys will be able to identify the benefits
Yeah.
faster than we could.
And perhaps we need to think about scheduling another meeting just for us. We had that first meeting, you guys remember? When we were gonna get the ARPA dollars and we had that community, and I think we only had 3 people come, but they shared their
Yeah.
thoughts and ideas. So maybe we need to do something like that, and with winter coming, next month's gonna be a busy agenda, but like January, maybe plan to have another community input and let the community members, if they show up, kind of what we're thinking and submitting these applications. And our infrastructure's a big one. We have to keep up, and that's water and sewer, and we're there. So in order for the community to keep growing, we have to get that infrastructure growing with it. That's my 2 cents.
I would make a move to authorize the supervisor to submit grant applications to the county for ARPA grant dollars.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to authorize the supervisor to submit to Grand Traverse County for ARPA grant funding dollars. Do we need a roll call on that? We're not spending any money. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the other one is the intent to apply for grant funding through EGO, which is due November 1st. And then, I think, trying to remember from our webinar, I want to say that applications will be due like June 1st of 2023.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
so we got a little bit of time.
A little bit of time, yes, but
But,
the,
a lot.
the caveat with that one, the intent to apply form is a 5 or 10 minute form to fill out. It's pretty easy. But when you actually apply for the full funding, it's a pretty significant amount of work to pull that information together. It's a preliminary design, more or less.
and this one is gonna cost us not the intent, but the actual application. And we are going to have to utilize our engineering firm for that.
Right, at that point.
Yes,
But what we're doing now, by the end of the month, is the intent to apply. That just puts your name on the list, and you have to be on the list to be eligible to do the full application.
So
Yeah.
this would be for the same projects that were,
this
Applying
would,
to the
this
county.
would be for the water improvement.
Yeah, I would recommend just the water improvement, because there's so much legwork that it
Yeah.
really, for us, the $250,000 lift
Right.
station is actually too small of a project for this kind of funding. Most of the ones you see on there are upwards of $1 million. Again, and there's no, you put your name on the list, but you are not committed in any way. You can sit on that and not do anything. You're just on the list. There's no commitment.
And you guys, the state is going to have almost $1 billion in ARPA funding money.
Yeah, for just the drinking water, $650 million.
Yeah.
In grants and loans. This is their biggest year ever, and it's for 2024. That's the funding year that they're looking at, that we're applying for. It's the biggest ever, but they're expecting the request to be the biggest ever as well. So
Sure.
they've seen that going up over the last couple of years. So requests have been probably outdistancing the money they're getting, but there's still a lot of money there.
Have you crunched any numbers on the East Silver Lake lift station? Is all of Eagle Ridge, all the sewage going to that lift station?
There is, yes, it will be.
Okay.
That is proposed.
And as we discussed in the past, that wet well is, we can't use its full capacity. It's very, very small. We only have like a 2-foot head range. If, you know, I think it's almost 4 feet before it starts going in the invert. So I don't know if we wanna add that, and I think those pumps, I can remember off the top of my head, are 200 gallons a minute. But,
Yeah,
you know, if we're having 300 additional units, plus as Oldview and that whole area is building out, and I'm sure there's plans to develop more over there with that subdivision. Just while we're applying for funds, do we need it for the other lift stations as well? Cause that one's really small, that's just a teeny, I mean,
it is small.
But I was under the impression that the apartment complex was going to be doing some of the upgrades.
There's actually a permit application that has been submitted, sitting on my desk for review for that.
well, the upgrades were to change the size of the sheaves, the pulleys on the pumps, and
To make it pump faster.
to get more RPMs, but that's only gonna get us so much.
Yeah, so the concern, Patrick's concern is the same thing where it's a small container, and when stuff goes down, they can't get it fixed right away. That could certainly.
And I do know a lot of those homes on Stafford there that are close to the lift station. I mean, if there's a basement in there, they're gonna be hit, they're gonna get back up, you know, right away. But that wet well, the elevation, how they put that in there, we can't use the whole range of it. Even if we could, it's very small. There's
And
not a
that
lot
could be
of room in
something
there.
that we can talk about, Ken,
Yeah,
because I know that the Grand Traverse County is gonna be looking at also, well, you Blair Township, you got ARPA dollars too, what are you spending yours on? So that could be, we could look at the upgrades that the apartment complex is gonna do, and then the additional cost to use some of our ARPA dollars, or whatever, that,
Right.
but yeah, we can look at it. If we're submitting for sewer upgrades,
You know, let's do that.
Yeah.
We'll do
Would
that
both-
soon because there's.
Would both lift
permits.
stations cover under one fund, ARPA fund? Like, could you, so it could be, so you have $250,000 worth of work?
Do general lift station upgrades.
Generally, yeah.
Get over there.
I mean, one pumps to the other, so they work together.
So that is something we could look at. It would, of course, increase the amount we're asking for.
okay, so let's just get a motion to. We already got the motion for the county, we can talk about that, but for the intent for the state.
I'll make a motion to authorize the supervisor to submit to Eagle intent to apply for state ARPA funds.
It's been moved and supported to authorize the supervisor to submit to Eagle for an intent to apply for state ARPA grant funding. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Ken.
All right.
Thank you.
Number 3, new emergency services bulletin number 1-R change order approval.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So bulletin 1R, you should have in your packet a report, a recommendations report from me. I'm happy to report that the architect has completed updates, which include some unfinished design work as well as some other design details which needed to be completed based on some owner-directed requirements, some things that weren't clarified in the drawings at bid time. I'm happy also to note that all the changes that I recommended are within the budget. So that should be key to what we're recommending. In the recommendations letter, I note that we have completed an evaluation. We've compiled the responses from the contractors, from the responsible contractors. It's enumerated under item 1. We broke it down by bid package and contractor for ease of reading. I don't know if you would like me to go through any of those items, but in a synopsis, the drawings that have now been submitted to Grand Traverse County as construction drawings that again, updated civil, structural, architectural, plumbing, mechanical, fire suppression, and some electrical design changes that were necessary. The total amount of all of the compiled change orders is $261,737.64, broke out by each one of the enumerated contracts. Several of the contractors have small numbers, a couple of them are bigger numbers. With that being said, with that change order issuance, we would still hold in the budget $594,715.40 of retained allowances, so money that we still hold in allowance money. And we still hold $681,419.96 in unused contingency. So, all in all, it's a small part. It was included in the master budget because we knew at bid time that there were some issues in the drawings that needed to be corrected and, brought up to, some code, there were a couple of code issues related in there and a couple of design issues, so. That being said, that's the recommendation, letter that I put together. I have personally reviewed each one of the responses and find everyone to be in order with, compliance of the contract documents for the requests and the percentages of markups. Behind the cover letter, you will see that I provided a bulletin compilation, which breaks down each of the contractor's requests for each and every item, in which case you will see that there's 73 items. And I took the time to assign the cost of each contractor's applied cost of each item. So you've got a gross cost report as well as an itemization for your review and approval. And again, I have reviewed it all. Everything is in order. The items are compliant to what both Eric and Nicole and I have been in several meetings since the contract awards, working through the details with the architect, and we're all in the loop on what was requested, and the responses again are valid. So I do make a recommendation that the board approve those changes. As well as the associated costs. And when you do make the approval, then my office will draft and issue formal change orders on behalf of Blair Township. They will be issued just like the contracts to the contractors for their signature, and they will be executed by Nicole Blanchard.
I'm sorry, Chris,
Yes,
where is the total? I don't know.
It's,
you're okay. If you go to page 2,
bulletin number 1R.
if you go to page 2, I know I don't know how your printouts
She's
came.
got it.
Oh,
Okay.
got it.
I have a letter and then I have a letter on top of a compilation report.
I don't think this is it. This is it.
And for purposes of the board, that's why we put that summary on the bottom, so that you folks can see where the numbers stand today.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I
You
don't
didn't
have
print it
this. I would make a motion to approve bulletin number 1R for change orders in the amount of $261,739.04.
Excuse me, I would like to disclose that there was a correction. My notes, I don't know how you want to handle this. The correct number is $261,737.64.
Is that $1.40?
It is. If each one of you would note that, and then if each one of you would go to the top of your page, at the top, you'll notice it's bid package 03. It reads recommendation for change order number 1 to be issued to Shepherd's Concrete for the bulletin number 1R response in the amount of, that number should read 48,283.64.
How long did it take you to find that $1.40?
A couple hours. Seriously. It was discovered in the breakdowns if the board ever in review and you take a look at what we provided, we request and require each contractor to provide us a summary breakdown. That's what's included in your board packets. That's how I can evaluate and double check the numbers. It also discloses their margins and markups and so on and so forth. Someone had typed a series of numbers in their own paperwork that didn't match the totals, so when at 5 PM, when I turned this over to Eric, there was a $1.40 error and I could not find it. It wasn't in our paperwork, it was in that contractor's paperwork, so.
Did somebody approve that motion?
Sorry.
Dennis, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, Coach, you did?
Yep.
It's been moved and approved. Motion made to approve Bulletin 1R for change orders in the amount of $261,737.64.
Okay, my office will put those change orders together tomorrow, Nicole, and if you're,
Let's do a roll call vote first, see if it's approved.
sorry.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Kutrah,
Yes.
Zeiss,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Lees,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Okay, Chris, what?
Thought I was getting paid by the hour too, I gotta go. I'll go ahead and have my office put the change orders together tomorrow. If you're okay with it, Nicole, we'll use the same Adobe sign.
Yep.
Because it creates that chain,
Yep.
so we'll continue to use that. Okay, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, do you want me to stay up here and do the next order
Yeah.
item? Okay.
Number 4, approve supervisor for pre-authorization for work change orders up to $25,000 during the construction phase of the construction of the new emergency services building.
I'd make a motion to pre-approve Supervisor Blanchard to approve work change orders up to $25,000 during the construction of the new emergency service building.
Support.
Can you just add to it based on our project manager's recommendation?
Yes, based on our project manager's
Approval and
approval
if
and
budget
change
allows.
Excellent, excellent.
It's been moved and supported to approve the supervisor for pre-authorization for work change orders up to $25,000 during construction phase during the construction of the new emergency services building. What'd you say?
With the construction manager's approval and if budget allows.
Yes, with the construction manager's approval, as recommended by our construction manager
There we go.
and as budget allows. Did you get that work, so?
I'll make the recommendation, you make the approval.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Campbell,
Yes.
Zeiss,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Kutrah,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Lees.
Yes.
Item 5, approval of water sewer delinquent rollover.
This is what we have so far before, we'll carry this on till the first Friday of November, which is the 4th. So, and delinquent bills, water and sewer bills went up about 14,000. I think last year it was around 84,000 we rolled over. Water assessment is about same. This will be our last water assessment because this is our last year collecting. And delinquent sewer went way down. We only have a few delinquent sewer assessments left.
Do you want a total? The motion to have a total or just of all 3 of those?
Yeah, that's okay. It don't matter either way. I don't have a calculator.
I know.
Do you want roll call? Do you want this? I'll do it.
See if I'm close. 118-52738.
One 526
Oh,
38. What'd you get?
I was off by a buck.
So what was it? 526.
And you weren't even using your fingers.
38. Okay, I would make a motion to roll over the delinquent water and sewer bills and water and sewer assessment bills totaling $118,526.38 to the 2022 winter tax bill.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to roll over the delinquent water and sewer bills, the delinquent water and sewer assessment to the 2022 tax bill in the amount of $118,526.38. Any further discussion?
Your delinquent minor cards were sent out, of course, it's this year.
Mm-hmm.
Were they sent out a couple of times in a year or just?
No,
once?
they're just sent out once.
Just sent out once? Should we do it more than once? The last 4 years, I said I did come in help soon.
I think these people, because it's normally the same people year
Yeah,
after
I don't
year.
think, I don't think if you sent them out 6 times that they would still.
It's just, we can't. It's just gonna neglect it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think that's their budget plan, is they just roll it on their taxes and it's taken out of their escrow.
Which is why our auditor recommends turning water off, turning water on. And yeah, one of the reasons they recommend it. Roll call vote.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Lees,
Yeah.
Kufra,
Yes,
Item 6. Contract awards for the new emergency services building. Chris?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that we finally have filled a couple of more slots in the contractor hunt. Overhead doors, painting, and then a request for a proposal related to epoxy coatings on the truck garage or the apparatus bay. The recommendations letter that is in front of you is the same format that we used for contract recommendations for the original bid portion of the project. Because we did not receive bids for the bid package 08A and bid package 09A, we requested approval from the township attorney to bypass a public process and solicit bids independently, which she approved and noted as, no conflict and no issue in doing so. We were able to, on page 2, sorry, I should have referenced the item numbers. Item 3, once we received the bids, we had a formal interview with Eric, Nicole, and myself. The purpose of the formal interview was to openly discuss the qualifications and considerations of each bid, to evaluate the cost effect of the bid results on the budget and to make a recommendation to award agreement to the responsive bidders. Upon completion of the interview meetings, the group met, evaluated, and we did decide on moving forward to present to the board request to award these three contracts. The first contract is bid package 08A. That's for that's for overhead doors. We did receive 2 bids. The award recommendation is based on the lowest qualified cost, and that is recommended for Cadillac garage door for the bid amount of $252,707. Bid package 09A, we did receive 3 bids. This is for painting. And the contract award recommendation based on the lowest qualified bid is for Elite Custom Painting, a Blair Township company as well, in the bid amount of $63,000 even, no change. The truck garage apparatus bay floor, because it is a specialty product and we have a concern related to quality and performance of application of such a specialized product, we did request a proposal from one company, Traverse City Coatings. They came and did a presentation for Eric's committee. Nicole and I were in attendance. They presented a couple of product options, talked about the process, and submitted a bid in the amount of $35,028. So $35,028. All 3 of those items are again within budget. The budget update that I provided you earlier related to allowances. Now allowances are designed to be, it's money held to be used for missing spots in the bid. And with the award of these 3 contracts, it'll leave the allowance balance at $243,980.40. So, and that's not the contingency fund, so that's, so it is my recommendation to award those 3 contracts. That'll fill 3 more empty spaces.
A separate motion for each one.
We probably should, because they're 3 separate.
Yeah. I would move to award bid package 08A overhead doors to Cadillac garage door in the amount of $252,707.
It's been moved and supported to award bid package 08A overhead doors to Cadillac garage doors in the amount of $252,707. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Walking,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Blondheim,
Yes.
Please,
Yes.
Sight,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes. Hurry up, battery's dying.
I would I would move to award bid package 09A for painting to Elite Custom Painting in the amount of $63,000.
It's been moved and supported to award bid package 09A paint finishes to Elite Custom Painting in the amount of $63,000. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Place,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Fleischheim,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Sykes.
Yeah.
I would move to award the
So the special.
bid for epoxy floor coating for the truck garage or apparatus bay to Traverse City Coatings in the amount of $35,028.
It's been moved and supported to award the bid for epoxy floor coating for the apparatus bay to Traverse City Coatings in the amount of $35,028. Any discussion? Roll call.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Fleischheim,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yeah.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Place,
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes. Chris, how many other slots still need to be?
Can't do that to me right now.
I'm sorry.
I laughed, I was thinking of the things that I didn't bring with me tonight. There is, IT is one item. IT was omitted in the design drawing, so there's no IT shown on the prints. Windmiller Electric that is on board is meeting with Eric and I, on the 18th to discuss what the needs of the EMS building are. And, that'll eventually surface as another change order. The contract bid packages included electrical, communications, data, fire alarms, everything in that wheelhouse. But because there was nothing shown on the drawings, they really couldn't bid anything, so we issued an addendum refraining from them just creating guesses. So we're actually, Eric and I, the 18th, we will be meeting and providing them a black and white picture of what it is that Eric and his team need.
And the committee, I'm not designing the IT.
Bring 2 cups.
Short of that, Lynette, there are a couple of minor items. One thing, I apologize, I don't have
No.
that in front of me. So there are a couple minor items, nothing major. One thing I did want to, if I can, the board just approved that 35,028 number. I just want, for full disclosure to the board, there's an alternate that they provided to put a heavier grit in the floor system for an added cost. I'm not recommending it today. You didn't approve it today, but for full disclosure, they are gonna make a couple of samples for us at their shop. Eric's gonna take his team over there, look at what you just approved, and then this other option. We don't believe that it's what they want, or I would have made a recommendation for it tonight and went backwards, but, I think in a nutshell, Lynette, you're asking about where we are on the dollars and cents. And, there's a series of items that will no doubt expel that allowance. We will definitely use all of that allowance money. For full disclosure, it's my intent to preserve the contingency. Allowances we know we will use, so if we don't have to go far into the contingency to cover the open items, we'll have ourselves a very successful project, so. Is that a fair enough response? I'm sorry,
Yes.
I apologize, I don't
Chris, that's all
have,
right. We
You're
had
right,
it
you're
earlier
good.
today.
I don't have that list. I was thinking, what did I walk out of the office with, and I didn't bring that list.
You brought enough.
You've had to spend enough time here today, so.
No, this is fine. This is what you're paying me for. I'm happy to be here. I just feel bad when I can't answer a question.
No, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
No, I think that.
You could just go look at the paperwork. we
Uh,
got earlier in your
Again,
office.
with
It's
that
on there.
full disclosure, we will use all of the allowance money. Allowance are set up to cover holes in the budget. We definitely will use that. It's our intent to preserve the contingency. That's the intent. Everybody good?
Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Extended public input. It's adjourned.
I have something.
It's not adjourned.
Sometimes I have a bad habit of coming in and sometimes taking up some of your time. It's precious. And I apologize for that. And just to make sure that we're all clear in the future, I was a guilty party of doing that sometimes. So if we would all respect all of the people that work here, that we do not take up their time, that they need to be working. And if we hang out and say things or just bullshit, it's not going to help our employees to do their job, and it's a disservice to them. So my apologies, and I look forward that all of us will adhere to the policies that are set forth for all of the employees, that they're on their time and our time is here.
I apologize if I've ever made you feel like that.
No, you
Don't yank your mic out while you're there.
I welcome
It's the
my
realization of it,
conversations.
too, that, you know,
Anything else?
that was it.
All right, now we're adjourned, 7:10.